So what do we need to bring to this city? This city seems like it's got so much going on. It seems like everything is going the right way from far away. But when you come to the city and you talk to people that have been here for a long time and you talk about the problems it has, we run into a problem because the messaging is that this is the most progressive place we can find. But we have some of the same issues here that we have in other cities where they're not being addressed as progressively as we find here. Same thing as we have people that don't really know what it's gonna take to get up out of the bind, no matter how progressive the rest of the city is, because they come from a part of the city that was never meant to be honored and loved. My goal is to reach everybody. My goal is to speak to everybody that's in this city that actually wants to see it become a positive and warm place for anyone who wants to live here. That means we gotta have equity, we gotta have freedom, we have to have justice, we have to have a lot of basic principles in place that this society, I'm talking about America in general, really hasn't guaranteed any of its citizens, right? Especially those that have been like most disenfranchised. We're talking about the Black community. So in Seattle, especially in Africatown, it's amazing the work that's been done, and yet there's so many people that are still being left behind. And not left behind because, brothers like Y King and those who's working with the Black Dot and working with Africatown are not doing the work, but because there has to be a way for this kind of knowledge and this kind of solutionary mindset. That kind of mindset allows you to change your own circumstance, allows you to determine your own economic future, your own educational future, the legacy of your children and their descendants, to be able to not be uprooted and be able to stand strong and build the foundation for the future. That requires that this sense of self-determination doesn't just exist at the top of the society, at the top of the stratum, at the top of the socioeconomic situation, but at the very bottom. So as the author of books like How to Hustle and Win and an individual that's always dedicated himself to whoever's at the bottom, I want to make sure that what we teach is something that young people, teenagers, people in the streets, people that are hopeless, people that don't see a future for themselves, people that are being uprooted, transplanted, displanted, people could see their future and they could see a beautiful reality, like they could see success. To that end, on Saturday, I'm doing something called the How to Hustle and Win Masterclass at the Black Dot Underground. What it means to hustle and win, it means to change not just the way you see the game, but to see your place in this game. The game has been run against you. You've been exploited. It's been set up so that you've lost by design. And we can change that because within the word indigenous, we see there's like an inner genius. This inner genius that we have, that's in our genes, it allows us to be talented, passionate, and to turn that passion into profit and to find our purpose. That's the goal of this masterclass. This goal of this class is to make it to where anybody, it doesn't matter what they come from, it doesn't matter if you sold drugs, if you just came home from prison. I need you to be able to know that you can take your future into your own hands and do so successfully, safely, and in a way you can pass down to your babies. To go along with that, the next day on Sunday, we're doing this Education for Elevation brunch and masterclass. And that'll be at the Africatown Center for Education and Innovation. What we're doing here is we're going to teach people how to teach themselves. This idea of self-determination and all the other principles that go along with it, that go along with this big concept that we call knowledge of self. It's something that anybody can have. But once you have it, being able to use this to be solutionary, which means to be the solution for the problems in your own life and then those around you, man, change becomes like a ripple. And with enough people creating change, it becomes like a wave, a tidal wave. And you have the ability to make massive changes. Just do the work of a few people. A few people. And I don't think it's only going to be a few people that show up, but those that do show up, we're going to be the beginning. We're going to be the genesis for waves and waves of change that go beyond this city, because this city is heralded for being progressive. This community is heralded for being, further along. So to that end, we're going to show them what further along really look like. We're going to show them what progressive really look like. We're going to show them what revolutionary and solutionary really look like. And that's going to have to happen in every individual. So the one thing that I like making sure that I teach is something that an individual can take home, something that you can immediately apply. Not something that you hear and you get excited about it, you get emotional about, not something that you got to spend money behind, but something that now you got to pay attention, spend time and energy behind. Because now you got to put in the work. And to that end, we're bringing together a community to do the work with you. So who wouldn't want to be a part of that? Peace.